It's April, and for gardeners here in Florida and other warm climates, spring is in full swing, but the heat, humidity, pests, and diseases of summer are right around the corner. What you plant this month truly determines how successful your garden will be before the intense summer weather arrives. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what to plant in April, what you should avoid planting, how to time everything correctly, and which varieties will grow best this time of year. If you would like a free printable planting checklist for April that goes along with this guide, I have it linked in the description below so you can download it. If you are part of my email group, I automatically sent the checklist to everyone at the beginning of the month. If you're new here, my name is Jara. I'm a lifelong gardener, permaculture designer, and I own a seed and plant nursery in Orlando, Florida. My mission is to help home gardeners grow more food by sharing the exact plants, techniques, and industry secrets I use every day in both my garden and my nursery. If you want to grow along with me, many of the seeds and plants I mentioned are available on my website, jarasgarden.com. All right, let's jump into everything you can plant in April. April is what I consider a transitional month in the garden. It is still technically spring, but right around the corner is the extreme heat, pests, and diseases of summer. The days are warmer, the nights are milder, the soil is heating up, bugs are waking up, and humidity is beginning to rise. Because of this, the main goal for April is to hurry up and finish planting some last few spring crops and start the transition into heat-tolerant plants that can handle the extreme conditions that will arrive in just a few weeks. Whatever you plant right now will likely be harvested a few months from now, which means those plants will be growing during some of the hottest and most difficult parts of the year. This is why cultivar selection is extremely important. The last thing you want is to waste time, seeds, and effort planting something now that will simply wither away before it ever produces. Let's start by talking about the nightshade group of vegetable crops, which includes tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants. If you are gardening in a hot climate where your summer temperatures go past 95 degrees Fahrenheit like every single day, tomatoes are not a summer crop for you. It's too hot for them to produce properly. In high heat conditions, they have problems pollinating and drop their flowers, so they don't produce fruit. They just sit there attracting all the pests and diseases you can think of. So best to plant them for a fall and early spring harvest. But there are a few exceptions or alternatives. One of the best tomatoes for hot climates that can still be planted or started from seed right now is the Everglades tomato. This tiny currant tomato is actually native to Florida and is therefore incredibly well adapted to high heat conditions, humidity, and pests. Even when most tomato plants stop producing in the summer, Everglades tomatoes will continue to grow and produce hundreds of small, sweet fruits. There are two varieties, one is red and the other is yellow. Seeds are kind of hard to find, but I have plenty of them over on my website. It is definitely something that I always have growing in my garden. Another option you can still plant right now is tomatillos. Tomatillos are extremely heat tolerant and will produce something similar to tomatoes that you can use for salsas and sauces. One important thing to remember about tomatillos is that you must plant at least two plants close together for cross-pollination, otherwise you will not get any fruit. When it comes to peppers, the good news is that many hot peppers actually love the heat. You can still plant hot pepper varieties now, and they will often continue producing straight through the summer. Some great heat-tolerant peppers include Thai chili, cayenne peppers, Tabasco peppers, and jalapenos. For sweet options, stick to Caribbean seasoning peppers such as ají dulce or piqueño. These peppers evolved in warm tropical regions and tend to handle hot weather much better than traditional bell peppers. Eggplants are another crop that actually performs quite well in the heat. However, the key is choosing the right varieties. Smaller Asian eggplant varieties tend to perform much better in hot climates than the large globe types. Some excellent varieties include Thai lavender frog, little fingers, long pink tongue, and other Thai or African eggplant varieties. These plants are incredibly productive and can continue producing fruit even during the hottest months of the year. April is one of the best months of the entire year to plant flowers because the weather is warming up, the days are getting longer, and soil temperatures are finally warm enough for many plants to establish strong roots. Flowers do so much more than simply make the garden beautiful. They attract pollinators, which help to increase vegetable yields and bring beneficial insects into your garden that help control pests naturally. For example, French marigolds are known for helping deter root knot nematodes while attracting beneficial insects. Zinnias, hollyhock, and Mexican sunflowers attract loads of butterflies and bees thanks to their pollen-rich flowers. Cosmos and alyssum attract lacewings and parasitic wasps that help control aphids and caterpillars. Sunflowers attract bees, birds, and pollinators, and they can even act as natural trellises for climbing beans. Some of my favorite flowers are what I call double duty plants, meaning they are not only beautiful but also edible or medicinal. Nasturtiums produce edible flowers and leaves that have a peppery flavor similar to arugula. Calendula is well known for its medicinal uses and is often used in herbal skin products. Borage produces beautiful blue flowers that taste just like cucumbers, no joke, and they're loved by pollinators. Roselle produces tart red calices that are used to make teas and jams. Chamomile produces delicate flowers that can be harvested to make calming herbal tea. Because April is such a perfect time to plant flowers, I have chosen flowers as this month's Grow Along With Me challenge. To celebrate, I'm offering 50% off all flower seed packs. You must enter the code FLOWER50 at checkout for it to apply over on my website, jarrahsgarden.com. This discount is valid through the last day of April 2026. Please note that discount codes cannot be combined, and only one code may be used per order. Now let's move on to the cucurbit family, which includes squash, cucumbers, and melons. For hot climate gardeners, April is a time when I stop planting the standard grocery store varieties of squash and cucumbers. Crops like zucchini, yellow squash, and standard pickling cucumbers tend to struggle once temperatures and humidity begin rising. Instead, this is the time to plant tougher heat adapted alternatives. If you're looking for something similar to zucchini, I highly recommend Tromboncino rapicante squash. This Italian heirloom produces long curved squash that can grow as large as a baseball bat, and it is much more resistant to squash vine borers and other pests when compared to traditional zucchini. I love this squash so much that I dedicated an entire video to growing Tromboncino from seed to harvest, and I'll just link it down below in the description so you all can learn a little bit more about it. Another interesting option is Mayan calabacita, a rare Central American squash that produces small round fruits. Young loofah gourds can also be harvested when they're under about 7 inches long and eaten just like summer squash. At that stage, their texture and flavor are very similar to zucchini. Chayote is another extremely productive squash-like option that can easily be grown from a sprouted chayote purchased at the grocery store. It is a vining plant that grows better when given some afternoon shade. If you want to grow winter squash, which are the types with thick, hard rinds that store for months, excellent options for hot climates include Seminole pumpkins, calabaza squash, and Jamaican pumpkin. These varieties originated in tropical climates and tend to handle heat, humidity, pests, and diseases much better than many standard squash varieties. When it comes to cucumbers, it is best to avoid the standard pickling or market cucumbers this time of year. Instead, try planting tougher Asian cucumber varieties such as Japanese long or Natsu, which is a gynoecious variety, meaning it predominantly only produces female flowers, which are the ones that turn into cucumbers. And it is also a parthenocarpic variety, meaning all the female flowers self-pollinate. What this means is that Natsu produces a ton of cucumbers. You can also try growing cucumber alternatives such as cucamelons, West Indian burr gherkins, Indian snake cucumber, or achocha. These unusual crops may have strange names, but they are incredibly productive and thrive in hot climates. If you have grown any of them, please share your recipes with me in the comments. I'm always looking for new ways to cook with them. Melons can still be planted in April, but this is usually the last good opportunity to do so before the summer rainy season arrives. If you live somewhere with heavy summer rains, like here in Florida, I recommend choosing melon varieties that mature in under 90 days at this point in the year. Excess rainfall can cause melons to split before harvest or dilute their sugar content, making them taste bland. Some excellent fast maturing melon varieties include Minnesota midget cantaloupe, Kajari melons, sugar baby watermelon, yellow petite watermelon, and Japanese new melon. Next, let's talk about the mallow family, which includes okra and roselle. Okra is one of the best crops that you can grow in hot climates. Once you're about 1 month past your last spring frost date, you can begin direct sowing okra seeds in the garden. If you have problems with animals or insects eating young seedlings, you can start the seeds in containers indoors and transplant them once they're larger. A reliable heirloom variety is Clemson spineless, which has been grown for generations and produces very dependable harvests. If you want something more unique, red burgundy okra produces beautiful deep red pods, and the plants stay relatively compact at around 4 to 5 feet tall. So it's a great option for smaller gardens. Roselle is another member of the mallow family, but it is grown for a completely different purpose. Roselle produces large red flower calices that are used to make tart beverages similar to cranberry juice. Because cranberries do not grow well in hot climates like Florida, Roselle is often used as a tropical substitute. The calices can even be used to make a cranberry-style sauce for Thanksgiving. Most roselle varieties are sensitive to day length and will begin flowering when daylight hours shorten in the fall. This means planting them now gives the plants plenty of time to get as big as possible. The larger your plants are by fall time, the bigger your harvest will be. Another amazing warm climate crop is pigeon peas, also known as guandules. Pigeon peas are legumes that grow into large, bushy shrubs about 6 to 8 feet tall. They are typically grown to shell out the peas inside the pods, but the entire pod can be eaten kind of similar to when you eat edamame pods, if you harvest them in a young stage. Most pigeon pea varieties begin producing when day length decreases in the fall and winter, just like with roselle. However, there are some northern adapted varieties that begin producing much earlier. My family is from the Dominican Republic, and pigeon peas are an incredibly important staple crop for us. If you have the space in your garden, I highly recommend growing them. And I just posted a YouTube video guide all about growing them from seed to harvest and some of my personal recipe videos that use pigeon peas to give you all ideas. I'll link all of that stuff below in the description. April is also a great time to plant beans, but it is usually the last opportunity before extreme summer heat begins affecting production. Bush beans and pole beans can still be direct sown now, but they should be planted soon so they have time to produce before temperatures climb way too high. You can also plant heat-loving legumes such as southern peas, cowpeas, yard-long beans, and lima beans. Scarlet runner beans are another interesting option because they produce beautiful bright red flowers that attract hummingbirds while also producing edible beans. Herbs are another category that should be planted soon before the full heat of summer arrives. April is a good time to plant Mediterranean herbs such as basil, parsley, rosemary, thyme, sage, and chives, so they have time to establish strong root systems to help them withstand the extremes of summer much better. You can also begin transitioning into tropical herbs that thrive in warm climates, such as ginger, turmeric, papalo, galangal, lemongrass, holy basil, and Cuban oregano. These herbs actually prefer warm soil and humid conditions and tend to grow very quickly once temperatures rise. Springtime is also the best time of the year to plant a new asparagus bed or expand upon existing ones. Asparagus is a valuable perennial crop because it can produce a harvest for 15 to 20 years once it becomes established. A lot of people think asparagus doesn't grow well in hot climates, but I personally have grown all sorts of asparagus varieties right here in my Orlando, Florida Zone 10A garden with much success. The key is pruning down all your asparagus bushes during the winter time to force it to go into a winter dormancy. This will trigger it to send up shoots in springtime, which are the asparagus spears that you harvest. Plant them now so they have plenty of time to establish and grow a large root system before next spring. You can start harvesting if it sends up spears that are pencil or finger thickness. This usually happens in about 1 to 2 years after planting asparagus crowns. Finally, April is still an excellent month to plant fruit trees and perennial fruiting plants here in Florida and other warm climates. The soil is warm, the days are getting longer, and fruit trees have plenty of time to establish strong root systems before the extreme heat of summer arrives. One thing I really want to highlight for gardeners with smaller spaces is that you do not need a huge yard to grow fruit. Many fruit crops grow extremely well in containers, pots, raised beds, or small garden spaces, especially when you choose dwarf or compact varieties. Dwarf fruit trees stay much smaller than standard trees, which makes them easier to manage, easier to prune, and much easier to harvest from. They also tend to start producing fruit sooner because the plant puts more energy into fruit production rather than growing into a very large tree. And you would be surprised how many dwarf versions there are of just about every type of fruit tree or plant. There are dwarf varieties of mulberries, figs, bananas, mangoes, starfruit, and papaya, just to name a few. Some plants, although not technically a dwarf cultivar, can still be grown successfully in large containers. For example, passion fruit can be planted in a large container with a trellis nearby that it can attach to. Pineapple plants are another great option because they naturally stay small and grow very well in pots. These types of plants are perfect for patios, balconies, small backyards, or gardeners who simply want to keep things more manageable. If you're not sure which dwarf fruit varieties are best for your garden, I actually created a helpful chart on my website that lists different types of fruit trees and plants along with specific dwarf or container-friendly variety names. The chart also includes information like mature plant size, recommended container sizes, and growing tips so you can choose the right fruit plants for your space. I'll link to the chart below in the description, and also link to any dwarf or small fruit trees and plants that I offer on my nursery website. April is one of the most exciting months for hot climate gardeners. The warm weather helps everything grow quickly, the soil is waking up, and the garden is full of possibility. If this video was helpful, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe so you don't miss any of my gardening tutorials, and let me know in the comments what you're planting this month. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, happy gardening.